When I went into emergency medicine, I did not think I would be interested in mental health, but unfortunately, it's a growing pandemic really across the nation, across the world, that adolescents are having increased suicidality, so they come to the emergency department when they're in crises. And a lot of it, I think, revolves around just kind of lack of ability to monitor their symptoms and things in the outpatient setting. When we were trying to think of how we were going to address this, thinking about mental health and objective data and technology is kind of a complicated new idea in some respects. And so the BIP program was critical in terms of providing the education to find those resources. And then the key was kind of putting us in touch with other people that can kind of support that program in terms of engineering to think of what kind of technology we could develop to look into this, as well as mentors and entrepreneurs to look at how this could actually be commercialized or actually used at the bedside. BIP was kind of a nice entire kind of product life cycle to help us see where things could go now and then where they could go in the future. Our idea was to improve outpatient monitoring through socially acceptable platforms and things. And one of the most common things that people have are smartwatches. So everybody kind of has a smartwatch for different indications. And so what we did is we kind of created a technology. It's basically a wrist sensor very similar to many smartwatches. They can collect very precise data about heartbeats and different changes in that. And there's a metric called heart rate variability that's been associated with stress in the autonomic nervous system. And so what we're doing is we're using this technology now in clinical testing at OHSU to try to correlate these very precise physiologic objective measurements with severity of suicidality, with the hope being that potentially patients could use these at home, and as their smartwatch is showing increased suicidal thoughts or stress or things like that, they could start to intervene before they get to the point of a crisis.
As a clinician, you recognize these issues and you want to solve them, but bringing a new product to market is not something that we're trained in. We need help, and we really don't realize how many people and how much time and effort and mindsets need to go into bringing something like this out to patients. The BIP gave me a start. It allowed me to work with engineers to start the development process, as well as a number of introductions to business people that can help me commercialize my idea. Sleep apnea is a problem that affects lots and lots of people and leads to both short and long-term health consequences. Unfortunately, our gold standard treatment for sleep apnea is a CPAP machine, and long-term compliance or adherence to this therapy is roughly about 60% because of discomfort with the CPAP mask. I've developed something called the Somnoseal, which is a new device to help improve the comfort and tolerability of the treatment for obstructive sleep apnea. One of the main reasons that they're uncomfortable is because of air leaks and dry mouth. And so I've come up with a novel solution to help decrease dry mouth and discomfort while using a CPAP. For other clinicians out there that have these kind of ideas, I would encourage you to talk to Tech Transfer, talk to OCTRI, disclose your idea, and start making some of these connections where you can really get the support that you need to make your dream a reality.
The strategy that we took through the BIP funding was to take a pharmacological approach in which we would develop screens to be looking for small drug-like molecules that would be able to enhance the DNA repair capacity in mitochondria. It was through this funding that we were able to discover a number of small molecules which in fact did exactly what we wanted. And so this then led to patent applications which have been subsequently licensed by Lucille Pharmaceuticals out of Massachusetts. And that was a perfectly good fit with them because their company is designed to leverage DNA repair in order to slow down neurodegeneration and also to potentially address issues in obesity. It's the product of then all of these partnerships, which was initiated through the BIP funding, that has really allowed this to progress to this point. It was through this funding in association with Ann Carlson, the rest of the OHSU Tech Transfer Group, that has really allowed us to do the very early exploratory work in terms of trying to find these drug-like molecules that would enhance the DNA repair capacity. This funding has allowed for a partnership to evolve that then allows us to be able to expand the research and move it toward much more of a clinical application.